Uh, uh, the mic was muted, so I start again. Uh, Good evening, Dhamma friends. Let me wish you a very happy and peaceful evening. It is Saturday, August 17. We are going to begin this evening Sutta studies with wholesome thought in mind. Before we begin, we pay our due respect to the Supreme Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa. Please join with me in this very important way of respect to the Supreme Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. I pay my homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dhamma friends, let me welcome you all for today's Sutta studies. We have been in this class for a long time and we discussed a lot of important discourses from the Buddha from Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, sometime in Khuddaka Nikaya also. Our main purpose is to discover the true Dhamma from Suttas. Of course, we know what exactly the Buddha taught us, but we try our best to clear it more and more and speed up our practice on Sila, Samadhi, and Panya to understand the whole truth of our life. According to the teachings of the Buddha, we are disciples of the Buddha. Depending on our personal practice, we may be either closer to any stage of enlightenment. There is no one externally decided that, but it's you and me and everyone else know that. So we are very happy about the way we learn the Dhamma because we feel that that happiness without craving, without attachment is always there. It's called Niramisa Priti. With that and also some criteria of the Dhamma about our progress, we know we are doing well. So studying suttas are always beneficial because you are going to know about the true words of the Buddha and Mahasangha at that time from discourses so that without doubts you can apply them into your practice. Today the sutta we selected is Sankara Uppatti Sutta. This is Sutta number 120 from Majjhima Nikaya. In translation, it could be reappearance by aspiration, Sankara Uppatti. If you divide the sutta title into two, Sankara Uppatti, it sounds like some Sankaras are going to reborn. Sankara is a big term which spread into various aspects in the Dhamma. However, the part we understand with this word would be easier because it sounds like easy, but when you go into deeper level, it's bigger and widespread. Upatti means appearance or rebirth. So this sutta generally talks about something arising based on something. We are going to find it out by reading the sutta if you don't refer to the sutta before this class. On one occasion, the Buddha was living at the Savatinjeta's Grove Anathapindika's park. There, the Buddha addressed the monks. Usually, he called bhikkhus. I'm going to tell you reappearance in accordance with one's aspiration. So listen carefully and pay your close attention to what I shall say. This is how the Buddha started the discourse. So Buddha is going to tell monks there about the intention or aspiration of us, of some beings, especially about the next life. uh, so again, it is kind of sankara, because sankara, as I said, is a word given to many things, but what we need to understand with this sutta is that whatever we create in mind is called sankara. In one discourse from Samyutta Nikaya, which I cannot remember the title now, the Buddha says the first aggregate of the five, Rupakkhanda, is also sankara. The second and the third and the last one, the Vijnana, they are all sankara, because the fourth one is sankara itself, and every other aggregates are also sankara. Rupang rupatataya sankatang abhisankaroti itiko sankaro. To say that this is aggregate of form, it has been created. So, in other words, Rupakanda is not done if there is no mind in us. So, Rup and Vedana, Sanya, Vijnana, they are all made up of. That's why they are called Sankara. So, likewise, everything is created by mind. Even saying planet Earth is existing, the sun is rising. There is someone who see the sun rising and say it. Otherwise, if there is no being, there is no sun rising. Likewise, everything is decided by the mind. Everything is done by the mind according to the first couple of stanzas of the Dhammapada. So, from these teachings, we know that Sankara is nothing but whatever the mind creates. So the bhikkhus over there were ready to listen to the Buddha, because bhikkhus know that something uttered by the Buddha is always beneficial for monks and nuns and lay people, and they are all about the path to nirvana or nirvana itself. The Buddha said this to monks: "Here, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu possesses faith, virtue, learning, generosity, and wisdom." He talks about five things. The person who possesses these five. What are these five? Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya in Pali. In English, faith, virtue, learning, generosity, and wisdom. So when a person has these five, now he thinks after the death, on the dissolution of the body after death, I might reappear in the company of well-to-do nobles. He fixes his mind on that, establishes it, develops it. These aspirations and this abiding on his thus developed and cultivated lead to his reappearance there. This is the path, the way that leads to reappearance there. So Buddha talk about something, some aspiration that some person having about next life. So once again, I just want to make the point clear. There is a person, let's say Peter. Peter is there and he thinks that I should be right in this life. I am poor, I am no one, but he has seen some wealthy noble people, which means they some people who have enough money, lot of money, and they are truly respected by the society because of other reasons. Maybe they are scholarship, maybe they are wealth, maybe they are popular way of life, and so on. So this poor person who has nothing of it, uh, aspire to be a similar person in the next birth. So he decide that with some good qualities in mind: faith, shraddha, virtue, sila, learning, sutta, generosity, chaga, and panya, wisdom. So the Buddha assures that if he lives with that thought often, by having these five qualities in his life, it's going to work. After that, after he finishes this life, he is going to be one of those famous, wealthy, healthy person, because he aspires, he he determined to be like that, not with anything support to him, with some good qualities. In other words, if you make a wish to be a wealthy person, you should nourish that wish by practicing these five qualities: faith, virtue, learning, generosity, and wisdom. But we have a question here. What kind of faith, what kind of virtue, what kind of learning, what type of generosity, and what type of wisdom we need to have to be reborn as a wealthy person, when a poor person thinks that I need to be like this kind of wealthy person? What kind of shraddha he should have, what kind of sila he should practice, what kind of learning sutta he should adhere, like reading suttas or else something else. We don't know what exactly, but basically the sutta suggested that the same faith, shraddha, sila, sutta, chaga, panya, these are qualities that we take to the nirvana also, but they also help us to find a safer place in this kama loka. If you have shraddha, yeah, on good qualities, if you have sila, which mean moral ethical principles, like you don't harm anyone else, you don't steal, you don't misconduct, you don't tell lies, you don't take drinks and drugs that could cause heedlessness. Your ethic is perfect, so it produces merits. And the panya, and generosity, they are produces merits, so that your next birth would be in a happy place. So Buddha tells here the the Paticca in other words, because you create a thought that I should be like this, then you support that wish by doing good things, so that the possibility of getting that life is 100%. This is called Sankara Uppati. So you let another uh, you know, mountain like Sankara happens. So born to a new life is starting a new Sankara. So Sankara is produced over there. So at the last moment of your life, you have a thought in mind which link to next life, and the next life is started just because of the link you made in at the last moment of this life. So that is the last thought is a sankara, because it creates another birth. So what when you are born there, you it's a sankara, and you produce more sankara to continue your life. So at the end, reproduction of sankara is taking place. That's why Buddha used the word sankara uppatti. Sankara uppatti. So here Buddha says that if you have faith, shraddha, virtue, sila, learning, sutta, generosity, chaga, wisdom, panya, and make aspirations to be a noble person, which means a wealthy, healthy, respected person. At the time of the Buddha talks about Mahasarakula, like wealthy families. Some families were controlling, I think, 20, 30 villages. They have a lot of properties. Those people were living like rajas, like kings. So being born to that type of family is also a blessing, because you have everything. So those days, people, the Buddha talks about those people, Maharaja and wealthy people. So if you want to be in that type of family, it is not going to happen just because you think. You have to gather uh, Shraddha as a force, and Sila as a force, and Sutta as a force, and generosity as a force, and Panya as a force. So when these five forces come together, it's going to be a huge one, and that energy from these five qualities take your mind to the particular noble family you thought of and reborn there. So the Buddha is talking about the Paticsamuppada here, based on this aspiration and your work on that, you are going to be like this. So this is the same. This is the pattern the sutta goes from here. Anyway, we talk about it just for us to understand what exactly the sutta says. Again, bhikkhu. Again, bhikkhu. A bhikkhu possesses faith, virtue, learning, generosity, and wisdom. He thinks, on the dissolution of the body, after that, I might reappear in the company of well-to-do Brahmin, well-to-do householders, and so on. So, at the time of the Buddha, there were Brahmin and Kshatriya, the ruling caste, and then the merchants, the wealthy people. We could include also the successful farmers and various other business people into that category. And last, the servant caste. So these are the four categories of people or society at the time of the Buddha. So people always look forward to reborn in wealthy families, wealthy caste. So Buddha did not deny it, because whatever happened, because of it happens because of your mind. Buddha has put forward the eternal teaching of our mind. Manupubbangama dhamma, manusetta manume. Whatever you think, it is going to happen. Whatever you think, it's become you after that. So if you think you are going to reborn in well-to-do Brahmin family, a well-to-do householders family, and so on, it's going to happen. Why it happens? Because you gather some other energies to fulfill your aspiration. Um, Suppose we plan to pass an exam that gives us you know an opportunity to find a better job. For example, let's say you are going to be a doctor and you have to pass some exams. So right now you study for the exam, having that aspiration in mind. In few months, in few years, I'm going to be a doctor. So being a doctor is your goal. Now you are working for it. Likewise, you are going to be in Mahasara Kula, in wealthy family. So having that goal in mind, you have to work hard to make it a reality. So Buddha suggested, if you have Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya as continuous qualities in your life, even in mundane sense. Of course, here we talk about mundane sense. So you are, after that, you will reborn in those particular families with no worries, no frustration, no illnesses, because you had a thought in mind to be like that, and you supported that idea by practicing five qualities in mind. So it's going to happen. So far in the sutta, the Buddha tells monks that what you can be a very powerful human beings into any of those families by aspiration. Not only with the aspiration, you have to have five qualities in your life: Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chakapanya. So now we move on to the next level of the sutta. So somebody who thinks that I should become a deity uh, of the 33. So we mentioned here in the sutta, we found in the sutta that there are many divine abodes. 33 gods, it's a particular, then a Yama, uh, uh, Yama realm, then Tusita, then uh, various other, Brahma realm, divine realm. There are long names, list of names about the divine work. So if perhaps you heard about these things from discourses, from Jataka stories, from the Buddha directly, or from later period bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. So having heard of all these wonderful stories from Jataka tales also, you think that, oh, the life I am having now is miserable. it is so frustrated. You cannot live without worries at least for several days. So this life is a mess. Now you hear about those luxurious divine life from different divine abodes and also Brahma realm. So now you think that why don't I make a way to reborn in those places? Because the entire world is talking about being divine, not attain to enlightenment. Of course, I think um, I think 50% of the Buddhist population, considering each denomination, I think even less than that, uh, people work on attaining nirvana. If the percentage would be very less. We know from our country that many people who are Buddhist do not have wish to attain nirvana. They say, if we ask the question, do you like to attain nirvana, they say yes, but there is no mechanism for them to get it. They don't know about it. Even if they do know about it, there is no rush for them to do so. I think because of this reason, I think many Buddhists do not aspire to be an enlightened person, but many of them would like to be healthy and wealthy and going into a divine existence for happiness and peace. So something like that they always keep in mind. So this is very common. Then this sutta applies very much. If some, I found some people who said that Bante, we do not attain to enlightenment soon. Because this life is a gifted life. The Buddhism itself says that we are human beings, full-fledged human beings, just because of marriage. And we have no problems at all with money, with reputation, with this and that. So why do we practice meditation with so much hardship to attain this? So these people might like this idea of having another life or many lifetime with luxury. So, however, the fact here we need to consider is this: the merits, these merits can create you hell. So, do you remember what the Mara, the evil one, said to the Supreme Buddha at once? As I remember, this is well before when the Buddha is attaining enlightenment, actually. So he said that why do even before that he the Mara told to the Buddha, why do you suffer a lot in this posture under this tree? If you want to be happy with your life, why don't you go home and do meritorious deed? Because merits are the energy you want to be happy. So when this was said, the Buddha knew that this is not a particular person, this is Mara. So only Mara can do this kind of interruption, right? So the suggestion from the Mara was, why don't you worry about enlightenment without sleeping, without eating, without drinking water? You're like a skeleton, just die or just go home and do meritorious activities, which is important for everyone. So with this example, we know the fact that merits produce only material and immaterial happiness. So, but we know from the teaching that everything is impermanent, even the happiness is impermanent. So that's what all merit can do. Here, Shraddha, Virya, Sati, Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya. These five qualities, uh, when it comes to the pure and background, they are taking our craving and attachment, ignorance out of our mind. They are so powerful qualities. But in order to become a divine being, in order to become a human again, you don't need that much of gravity of these five qualities. For example, Shraddha. So you have a kind of clear mind You are so faithful for generosity, for charity, for this and that. That Shraddha could be good enough for this persons to fulfill his aspiration. But Shraddha, when we come to attainment to Pala level, that Shraddha should be always supported by wisdom. When the Shraddha is supported by wisdom, that Shraddha is not just standing up when a Buddha statue is get closer. So that Shraddha is very rational, or develop with wisdom, so that there is no such results coming. That Shraddha could end bhava, but this Shraddha we talk about, Sila Sutta Chagapanya, is producing you a next birth, so that we can understand that five qualities are not much they are not deep, they are in the surface level in that particular discourse, in this particular discourse. So let's go on. Not only being a very wealthy, respected human, you can be a divine being also by having these five qualities: Shraddha, uh, Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chagapanya. So now Buddha goes on to Brahma realm also. In this kind of suttas, we can find how vast this wisdom, and starting from lower Brahma realm, the Buddha goes on to various realm of Brahma, including those Brahmas who could, dominate the capacity to thousand and thousand world system. In this respect, we come to know that Buddha is so more powerful than these Brahmas. So even when you hear these Brahma realms and their power, who knows, you make a mind to be like that after that. So some people do so. As I said earlier, there was a person who always uh, wished to be a very wealthy person. He said that I don't like to reborn in Africa, because the people in Africa is totally different from various ways from with us. So that person always like to reborn in Sri Lanka and somewhere in South East Asia, and third choice is here. So then we have told him that it could either happen or not, because everything depends on your mind. So now your mind has created an aspiration or determination. In order to make it true, you have to work on that. Then I told him about this particular sutta from Majjhima Nikaya, and Buddha suggested that if you have a strong will in your mind, it could happen. But in order to make it happen, you have to have Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya. You should be morally wholesome. You should know something from the teaching, and you should have wisdom. You should have generosity. All these qualities help you to fulfill your aspiration. So we see in the Sutta, Buddha talks about many Brahma realms. So thousand and thousand, uh, number of years, and the area the Brahma could focus is so vast. So uh, like this, you can see the Buddha talks about being any human, any other living beings. It happens due to your aspiration. But when we say this, I'm careful, because sometimes beings die without any expectation. So they can reborn in places where the places in which he thought about. So in some cases, we know that some people do not have aspiration, but they reborn in according to their karma. But here, if you want to be like that, just make a wish, and that wish should be supported by five qualities. Then only it works. I would like to read the last paragraph of the discourse. Again, bhikkhu. A bhikkhu possesses faith, virtue, learning, generosity, and wisdom. He thinks, that by realizing for myself with direct knowledge, I might here and now enter upon and abide in the deliverance of mind, deliverance by wisdom that are taintless with the destruction of the taints. And by realizing for himself with direct knowledge, he here and now enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind, and deliverance by wisdom that are taintless with the destruction of taint, because this bhikkhu does not reappear anywhere at all. That is the very important part. In order to attain enlightenment, we should have aspiration, we should have a kind of will in mind. So if you want to reborn, if you do not want to reborn again, so what you need to determine now is to practice Sila, Samadhi and Panya, which are necessary to break through the walls of craving. So in order to have it, you should have Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya, right? So this tells us another important fact that yes, you can have wishes in your mind, but these wishes come to life when only we support it by a wholesome quality. Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya. Right. So here, at last, Buddha said, if you make a wish that I attain to full enlightenment in this very life, and now you think over and over on the fact that you attain to enlightenment, you somehow find something interesting. Suppose you want to attain to Sotapanna in this very life before your death. So keep that determination in mind, and every day, whatever you do to support your aspiration. Not because of your mother, because of your father, because of your wife, husband, children, grandchildren. You don't do any bad thing. You don't want to, you can let go of all these relationships if nirvana is achievable with this practice or that practice. So that is what many monks at the time of the Buddha did so. Some merchants who were very successful in business actually wanted to become a monk and attain enlightenment. So that could happen at any time. From Thailand, from Burma, from elsewhere in the world, even today you hear some wealthy people enter into this order because they find peace and happiness in that isolation. So these are some of the examples to tell us that whatever you wish, it's going to happen. Only thing you need to do is to work hard on it, right? So however, if you think that I want to be liberated from this suffering, there you should know what exactly you need to do. If you cannot do it alone, you have to get advice from a knowledgeable person about the path practice. There you have the chance of attaining at least to the stage of Sothapana, because you create that intention in mind to attain enlightenment, and you support that idea by doing various things like we mentioned here Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya. So when you work on this, your aspiration is going to work. So that is what the Sutta end tells us. Um, so if I might enter into Cheto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti, it means I practice Samatha and Vipassana up to the highest extent and gain this deliverance of mind. There I have a desire to practice wisdom 100% on in all aspects. So if you have this idea in mind, it's going to happen too. That is also because you make the reasons, conditions, and the result is going to happen. It's called paticca samuppada. So imasming sati idang hoti. When you have this, that is going to happen. Remember, this is all about mental power. Uh, just because just because of having an idea, it doesn't happen. A very important highlighting factor here is you have to have these five qualities: Shraddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya. The level of Shraddha, the level of uh, Sila should be discussed in a separate note. But here, to be a very powerful human beings, you don't need that type of Sila that a monk or nun needs for attaining enlightenment, because your goal is to be in that particular wealthy position. Your goal is to be divine person. You don't need to work hard like for nirvana. You work hard at for attaining nirvana, but that gravity is not should not be there for you, because your aspiration is to be a divine being. Anyway, so the Buddha concluded the sutta by saying that. So Buddha, I think Buddha wanted to tell that you monks and disciples in the future would be lazy. So prepare your mind uh, to take something powerful. So prepare your mind for that. So this is kind of mental, management. I want this, so that you have the thought about wanting and you support that thought wanting to get it. So simple. All right, that's the discourse. I can see Dr. Pial raise his hand. Please unmute and talk. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Avante. I'm thinking now these five qualities comes up again and again in the sutra text. This is called Sekabala, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Sekabala. So now it's also considered as the wealth. Sometimes it's referred to as a wealth in Buddha Dhamma. The wealth. These are the five: Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Tyaga, Prajna.
yeah,
Also, to be born in a god plane, like also you have to. I think it is other sutras talk about this as well in other instances. So my question is it are we encouraging here bhavatanna in a way, saying, okay, you want to be born somewhere, you have the craving, or you want to have pleasures, maybe kamatanna. Okay, here you have to
yeah.
develop these five things, and you determine your mind, you be born there. So in a way, is it, I don't know how do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
a very nice question. Actually, in my view, Buddha mentioned about what happened if we have this kind of wish to reborn in this place. It could happen, but the encouragement from the Buddha came only with the last one,
Hmm.
right? So other things, other being a divine being, being a Brahma, and before that being a this kind of human, they are just a fact. And if there are people who want to be like that, they have the choice, they have the will. But Buddha wanted to tell the fact here that if because maybe some monks thought of being divine being, because Buddha talks about the stories real happening in the divine world. Venerable Moggallana came down from the heaven and tell this and that. Maybe bhikkhus who have not much knowledge and wisdom might think that, okay, I should be like that, I should be like this. So perhaps Buddha knew that there are monks who wished for being born like this, and so Buddha wanted to tell, okay, it happens, but
Hmm.
what you need to do is to aspire to end this cycle of suffering. As you said, yes, some people might get, if they listen to half of the discourse, they might, develop bhavatanna. Being a divine being is expecting another birth,
Yeah. So,
right?
but the other thing is, I mean, he's giving us a big buffet, right, to select
Yeah,
from. But you have to, these qualities have to develop. You can't just by wishing.
Yeah,
without like if you're doing or not keeping the precepts, you can't just wish and be born in an I think so these. But again, he doesn't say how much of these saddha sila sutta, the degree of how much you
yeah.
need to develop for each one. We have no idea here, but how much is there a way of like a measuring, or maybe I don't
That's
know.
that's what I also think. I don't know exact measurement, because let's say that you are going to be a very famous. We want to be a very famous person in the next life. So what level, what degree of sadda you should have for it? We don't know.
Hmm.
Because if you have Akaravati Saddha, full form of Akaravati Saddha, you may be actually understanding that even being a very famous person is useless, because
Useless because
Akaravati Saddha is always supported by wisdom.
yeah, because
So
you're going to get old, sick, and die. What are you
yeah,
looking
that's
for?
right.
It's a ignoble search again. It's not a
Yeah,
noble search.
yeah. When your wisdom faculty, the last one out of the five, is developing further and further, you know that the sickness is quite relevant to the doctor who is very famous, and the singer, and even the person who is on the street, because the difference is between the quality of life, but the dukkha satya is
But,
equal to everyone. So your
yeah,
wisdom talk about this.
even
So
if you're
then
born in a wealthy family or well-to-do family, as the first example, still you have dukkha. Like you're going to
yeah,
get
that's
old,
dukkha.
sick, and die.
And then when you come to that understanding, being a divine being is also a kind of whole in your whole program, because temporarily for maybe one irons, maybe long time you would be okay, but after that what happened? So Buddha has talked a lot that any of those bhavatanna is suffering, so that your wisdom suggests always that you should not wish any type of life, but end of the
Yeah,
cycle of suffering should be targeted. So
yeah. Last one,
that's true.
last
Yeah,
is the best option. The last option is the best
that's
option.
right. But this could actually, whether the Buddha talks about the entire beautiful teaching to end bhavatanha, people who have different understanding always think that, oh, I don't, as I personally experience that some people don't want to attain enlightenment.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
he's giving a big choices. Like I guess he's very
yeah,
kind, generous, and so compassionate. So giving
right.
choices for everyone, but not everyone is looking for the enlightenment, right? So
That's
maybe
right.
he said, okay,
Actually,
there's a
yeah, being a human or a divine next life is much better than being
animal realm.
being an animal.
Yes.
Right? And preta, yak, and going to hell. And Buddha has given so many examples to tell the level of suffering in those. But I think word doesn't give big real picture of that suffering. It's so
Yeah.
much suffering there. So being a human might
Yeah.
give a second chance of the
Yeah.
person, right?
Yes, but they
Right.
are not
So
saying here level of enlightenment, not even a Sotapanna. We
yeah,
don't know here. So we don't
yeah,
know that this be born in a very rich family. Next time he might go into hell realm, right? So there
yeah,
is no guarantee. Even
right.
these births, even the Deva realm, unless you are Sotapal, Margapala Labi, like some kind of a, you have some attend some attainment. Beyond Sotapanna, it's a bit of risk.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, India has a question. No. Okay, okay. I
All
think
right.
I'll let
Yeah, yeah.
others let
Very
go.
interesting. So, yes, yes. Thank you so much for your insight. And now we let Sister Chandrani talk about anything you add.
Yes, Venerable. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Yes.
Okay. Now, today we learn that Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya, uh, with the view of personality view, like there we can see that we are looking at it as a wholesome state of mind, as a person, and we make an aspiration to be born in another realm. So here, actually, it is not beyond the personal view. It is with the personality view that we
Yeah.
do the aspiration. But we learned up to this point that Jara Marana is the result of birth, and that we, anywhere we are born, we face this. So,
Challenges. Yes.
same way, if we are wise enough, we can develop the 37 factors and make our aspiration to the goal of Nibbana. Isn't
Yeah.
it correct, Venerable Sir?
Yeah. That's what the Buddha said at last. If there is a monk who could actually have these five qualities and at the same time think of ending this cycle of suffering, it could happen also, right? The Buddha wanted to tell that whatever you think, it's going to happen. So yes, if you think that I should end the cycle of suffering and finish this work, there you focus the either 7 factors for enlightenment or 37 factors for whatever set of teaching there, you should uh, develop them, because you have aspiration of attaining enlightenment. Then what you need to do here, there is a very clear mechanism. So this is the goal I have, this is the goal I have, these are
Yeah.
the works I need to be done to achieve the goal.
So,
So
to do that, Venerable Sir, what I do is I sit here to listen with the aspiration, may what you teach today leads me to attain Nibbana. So
yeah,
I keep on, every moment I get the opportunity, even listening, that is
yeah.
Sutta. I do
That's
that.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
Because yeah, that's true. You can renew your aspiration of attaining nirvana at any single kusala or punya activity.
yeah. Even when you are giving a Dhamma talk, I always make
Yeah,
an assumption, may this Dhamma be of use for, so that they can see the ultimate truth.
that's right. Because the underlying point here is that you do a good thing and you renew your aspiration. You do a good, even a very small thing like suppose we have a piece of bread in our hand, so we see the birds, so we throw it to the birds and you see how they eat, how they like it. So you make aspiration there, by this generosity may I be able to get closer to the qualities of nirvana one day. So may this generosity help me overcome stinginess and anger. So it could work, because the underlying point, underlying action you do here is the generosity. So that's why I told you that at each and every single good action you can make the aspiration. That's why aditthana, aditthana is coming as a paramita, perfection. So when we come to 10 paramitas, 10 wholesome perfections, the Bodhisattva did aditthana. So at the end of, or at the beginning of each single good karma, he says, this is for this purpose. So that,
And the other, sorry.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And the other point, Venerable Sir, the first part of the sutta, like making an aspiration for another birth, is for those who have maybe sotapanna also, but not beyond, because they don't make such aspirations.
Yeah. Yes, Sotapannas do not, because Sotapannas, the first stage, people who attain to first stage of enlightenment, Sotapanna knows what they are, what happened to them after, because there is a great confidence on in you that you do not have Sakkaya Ditthi. You have seen the Buddha very clearly. There is no doubt about the Dharma at all. So your mind is clear from various garbage like akusala, so that your destiny is decided and you feel it. Because we talk
And
about,
this aspiration is a personal. What I
yes,
feel.
definitely. They are
Yeah.
personal, and I don't think Sotapanna things like this. The
Yeah.
people, if they, those who before that might have this different kind of aspiration, because even Saddhanusari and Dhammanusari, and I don't think every Saddhanusari and Dhammanusari have has these kind of aspiration, because they are knocking the door of either Sotapanna or any other stage of enlightenment. That's why that's what they are doing. So those who have heard about Anicca, Dukkha and Anatta, those who have heard about Jati, different kind of birth, I don't think they expect to be this and that, because they have Shraddha on the Buddha, they have Shraddha on the Dharma and Sangha, they trust
Mhm.
on the Buddha's word about samsara, though. So whether we know the full package of suffering or not, we do not wish to be so and so. But people who have Sakkaya Ditthi might even think to be like that. Let's forget about next life. In this very life, people think to be so and so. That's called Sakkaya Ditthi. So, as you suggested at the beginning of your contribution, Sakkaya Ditthi is shining, is one of the shining qualities of this aspiration, because you do good things here just to support your aspiration, but this aspiration itself is being bound to another so and so. So what does it highlight? I am here and I'm going to be someone like that
Mm.
in the future, which means in a continuation of Sakkaya Ditthi.
බොහොම පින් ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
Thank you. So, Sankara Uppatti, the Sutta title is Sankara Uppatti. So, suppose you are going to be a divine being in Tusita realm, where bodhisattvas appear, and Tavatinsa, if though you have suffering over there, you still in a safe place for long time. So that is called starting of a sankara, full package of sankara. So being born there, you do intentional activity. So that's mean you renew your sankara package to be like that. So again, Sutta tells it very clearly, Sankara Uppatti. So having aspiration to be like this and that, you create Sankara. But at last, what the Buddha said is, if you want to liberate yourself from Cheto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti by following the Dharma, still because because the noble eightfold path is Sankara, Sankata. So, but beyond the noble eightfold path, when you become a Sotapanna, Sakrudagam, Yanagam, particularly, very clearly, the full enlightenment, you go beyond the Sankara level. You go beyond the Sankata level. So, apart from that, so you create a Sankara. Yes, Dr. Pia.
In other words, at the last level is where we talk about Sabba Sankara Samato,
Yeah.
or Tanakyo Virago Nibbanang, or again, there's a Sankara, Visankara Gatanchitang. All those things relate to, there's no more Sankara at that stage. So there is
Yeah.
no Pati.
Yeah.
At the, not no, even you have aspiration, there is no aspiration.
That's right.
Sankara is all gone.
Yeah, that's true. Very good. Yes. So yes, when you have aspirations, you have some sort of existence of you in a different form. So when you aspire to attain nirvana, we have learned about it. There is no one attain to nirvana, because it is you make the conditions for gaining that, as results. But when you attain to it, when you attain to that particular state of mind, the identity of you are as I, me, and myself is gone. So there, then it is not you or anyone else attain to it. It's a mind that is clean. Experience it. Once the mind experience the liberation, that mind is beyond the personality view, beyond the I, me, and myself. So that it's very difficult to tell from language that who you are, because you have destroyed the self view. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to say something or ask a question? Okay, from now on, of course, even before this sutta, we all know this fact that don't wish to be anyone like divine or human or any other, because it's another episode of suffering. Because with jati, as two of them explained, with jati, there are jara, vyadi, marana, soka, parideva, yampichanna, labidi, tampi, dukkha, Sankitena Panchupadanakkanda Dukkha. So, with any bird, with any beginning, you have all the suffering, including the suffering from the five aggregates of clinging. So, Buddha's clear message is to us is to end the cycle of birth, cycle of deaths. So, that's what we need to keep in mind. So, with that in mind, I'm going to end today's Sutta studies. Tomorrow we have a program in which we practice meditation, discuss Dhamma. Unfortunately, they are in Sinhala. So, hope we will have good time tomorrow, and I hope you also spend your life meaningfully with the Dhamma. Now you have learned how to incorporate the Noble Eightfold Path into your life, even out of the meditation cushion, so that you are not long with, you are with the Dhamma. Dhammo have Rakati Dhammachari. When you apply the noble teachings of the Buddha into your day to day life, uh, physically maybe you are alone, but mentally you are living with the Dhamma, so that you could definitely develop a lot of kusal, lot of merits, lot of skillfulness, and you will be really, really happy by tomorrow, one day, many days to come. Until we see next week, I wish may you be well, happy, and peaceful. May the Dhamma support you. May you be able to find that kind of Dhamma to get support, and may you attain Nibbana, the blissful of enlightenment in this very life. With that thought in mind, with that compassion in mind, we end today's Sutta studies.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.